I'm Stone. I'm the new lead singer of Nervochaos, the newest addition to the band, and this is where we're kicking off our tour. We're doing 4 days here in Finland as we, circumnavigate our way through all of Northern Europe, and then eventually head back to South America. We released 2 albums in the past, 7 months, something like that. And the first album that we had dropped with my voice on it was actually an idea we all kind of collaborated on of taking the first 4 albums or so and then bolstering it, building it up, making it more powerful, more intense, better production, and then with my voice and a few slight little changes here and there to just really add a touch of an edge to it. And so that was the Dug Up album. And then the brand new album was actually the first one that I had recorded with these guys. That was the one that I auditioned to be on. And All Colors of Darkness, that just recently dropped, 2 months ago. So. No, we did a couple of the online things that a lot of bands were doing, so it was like us in a studio or on a stage and performing the songs, and we were able to, cut it up and edit kind of like a live music video. Yeah. But this will be our first set of live shows with human beings in the room doing the thing. Yeah.
You're excited?
Fucking pumped, man. Always excited to do live. Being a musician, creating music is fun. That's half of the battle, and then and going through those motions and working with your teammates and your band members and everything, that's fun, but it's being able to show it and being able to perform it, and then the energy that we all feel from the live performance, the audience and us and everything involved. That's the real reason we do what we do. Moreover, very positive. I would say that everybody's kind of seeing that the band through this, time off and so forth has taken things probably more seriously, I think, than a lot of bands have. Yeah. We spent a lot of time in the studio during this whole lockdown business, and as far as I could tell from a lot of the reviews and the fans and everybody, they're thoroughly enjoying it. It's equally as intense, if not in some places a little bit more intense than some of the last records, and there's a few little tiny new introductions of some ideas that Nervo hasn't touched on before that are actually getting a lot of good feedback. It feels great for me. Also coming in as a foreigner and somebody that's, my other previous projects and things that I play with weren't in more of the death metal range and style. And so working with this band has been, it's helped me excel in my own style of singing and my approach as a vocalist and a lyricist. Yeah. So challenging me to dare I say conform, but fit what I do and push what I do to, be a better piece of the puzzle for them. So I don't necessarily sound like I do with other bands that I sound like this band. There's a lot more lower growls, a lot more intensity, and obviously lyrically it's more evil. To make a very involved story extremely short, the producer for All Colors, and then subsequently the albums that are going to be released around that, he and I have been good friends for a number of years. And when he had come back from Brazil, this was right in the early parts of 2020, and so he invited me over to the studio. We were just conversing about some things, and he's like, hey, I'm working with this new band, they need a vocalist. I was like, oh, let me check out the music, see what they got going on. And right then and there, I walked into the booth. They already had some lyrics kind of drawn up. I did a little editing and some, moving around how I would probably write it if I was to write those lyrics. Yeah. And we spent a good couple hours really trying to fine tune, this is what it would sound like if I was in the band. And then we sent it off. And after a number of other people had submitted and so forth, and some time went on, we all got to converse, via Skype, and I was the fortunate one and the lucky guy to get the position. A lot of what we do is done via email and a lot of online conversations and things, especially when it comes to creativity and so forth. So Adu and I are the primary lyric writers. The band does the vast majority of the music. I think on one of the upcoming records, I wrote like one riff or something while we were all together just jamming out. So there's a lot of back and forth. They'll send me some stuff like, what do you think? How about this? And I'll throw in maybe some of my cues or ideas, and then they'll take it back and they'll send it back. So there's a lot of back and forth, fun stuff, which is, in this modern day and age, so many bands do that. Not everybody lives in the same city anymore, and so the beauty of technology is being able to propagate our ideas and still work together, being 6,000 miles apart or whatever. I mean, again, so that energy, being with live people, being in a room with people, feeling the music, us performing, and then that reciprocal, we give the energy, they give energy, so we give more energy, they give more energy, and it just, like, that's the big key thing right there, man. I remember you asking to do about, Finnish bands, and I'm like, do I know? And I think, is Fintroll from here? I'm going to assume, yes. So I know them. I think Avalon is from here too. Am I saying that right? Avion or they're like a power metal band. I'm really bad about where bands are from.
Yeah.
Like I'll listen to tons of bands and I'm like, I don't know where they're from, but they're rad. So yeah, but with Goatburner, I just recently learned about them and started looking into them, and they're ruthless, they're intense, and I'm super looking forward to being able to perform with them. And we got a couple other legs of this tour later on that we're teaming up with a few other bands, and it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of heavy brutality. I'm excited. I'm not the kind of guy who gets wasted and then performs, or I try not to drink too much before I play, because this is the most important thing for everybody else, including my band. Energy, intensity, focus. Yeah, just sheer, unadulterated, pure death metal brutality. That's what I would suggest to expect.